Right, there's nothing more satisfying than having a big box full of hooks, especially if you've gone to the effort of tying them all by yourself. Plus you can choose the exact hook and hook length combination that you want. And if they go wrong, you've only got yourself to blame then, haven't you? So I used to always use a Matchman hook tire, which is not a problem using those. They tie a very good hook. But as soon as I swapped to tying by hand, I felt I got a much better knot, a straighter knot, no kinking whatsoever, and just a more secure knot than using any other device. And it suddenly became one less thing to carry in my crammed tackle box. So I'm going to show you a few gadgets and gizmos that I use, and also the hows, whens and whys to what I do and why I do it. Hopefully you'll get a few little tips and tricks out of it along the way. So obviously we're tying little hooks, so it's an 18, 16, 14 and a 12. They're the four sizes that I tie the most. But what I've gone for today, just for ease of being able to see it on camera, is a size 10 MXC2. And I'm going to use some 023 XD mono, just because it's a bit darker on this sort of thing. I'm not going to use rope and a C hook. I don't see the point in that. I need to show you with the right tools and the right gear, something close to what you might be using. But anyway, first things first, you can't tie a hook unless your line's taut. You must tie it under tension. If it's loose, the coils will undo and you'll end up with a little curly pigtail. So you must tie it under tension. So you must trap the spool. If I'm on the bank, I'll trap the spool between my knees. But when I'm in my rig room or wherever I am, when I'm inside, I'll trap it under a big weight. This is a 1 kilo calibration weight. Really useful, but it's a kilo, and I tie so many rigs and hooks that really does help. And because it's nice and smooth, nothing's going to catch on it and nothing will budge as well. So I'm going to trap my spool under this. So, and you can put it wherever you want away from you as well. I tend to find having everything further away and then the line coming back to you makes things easier. If that weight's too close and the spool's too close, everything gets a bit too fiddly. So have it a bit of distance away from you. So I'm going to pop my spool there out of shot, pop this on, and then I can, just by lifting it around, I can just unravel as much line as I want. I'll show you that, just so there's another reason why I use this, by the way, because I can just go around. There's no nuts and bolts and things and clamps and everything. It's just lift it over the top and nothing will catch. So there, we've got our line there. Let's just trim it to a usable length. My wife's going to love finding that on the floor. So I've gone for a size 10 because it's a nice big hook, probably the biggest we'll generally use in the sort of situations that I fish with. Hopefully you can see that on camera. So the point's up, the spade's facing down, and I'm just going to double up the line and create a bit of a loop there, and just double up the line there. Okay, and you want 5 or 6 inch tag there as well to play with. Then offer up the hook alongside the loop, and then I'm going to pinch the bottom of the hook and the loop and just grab there. Okay, but this bit to the spool must be nice and tight now. Okay, now you can point this hook directly at the spool, but I tend to find it better just to go off at a slight angle, sort of 10-15 degree angle. I just find it easier to whip when the hook is off like that, and it stops the coils pinging back off. So anyway, we've got 5 or 6 inches of line there just coming off, and I work from the bottom of the hook up. But anyway, this is going off 5 or 6 inch there. That's more than enough to play. You don't want too long. It becomes harder if it's too long, but about 5 or 6 inches about right there. Okay, and I work from the bottom of the hook up, so I'm going to go around and work my way up. Now, as you can see, hopefully you can see, every time I go around, these 2 fingers, hope you can see those 2 fingers, are grabbing the line there. They've grabbed it, and then I grab it again, and I go around, and I grab the line again. I go around, and I grab the line again. Okay? Hopefully you can see that. These 2 fingers there grab it each time. It looks complicated, but the more you do it, obviously, the more it becomes second nature, and you'll only be good at tying hooks if you keep tying hooks. It's, you know, I'm tying hooks every single week, so you get better at it. But anyway, so I'm just grabbing it there each time. Now then, as far as how many whippings to go up, I tend to find with modern sort of barbless commercial hooks that tend to be PTFE coated now, Teflon coated hooks, shall we say, they're very slippy. And I tend to find 11 or 12 turns is about right for those sort of hooks. For natural hooks with lighter lines, fishing sort of 08 bottoms to 22, 20, 18 fine wire hooks, just 7 or 8 turns is often ample. And in fact, if you do too many turns on the thinner lines and smaller hooks, you can't actually move the knot or do anything with the knot, it's too tight. But definitely for the more modern commercial style hooks, the slippy PTFE coated hooks, if you don't have enough whippings, they'll slip. I've found that. It's something it's only in the last few years that I've started to put more whippings on my hooks. I used to use 8 to 10 maximum, but now I'm going a few more just because most hooks these days are PTFE coated. So anyway, I've trapped all that there. Let's go around one more time and just grab it there, okay? Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you see that in there, in shot? Boop, boop, boop. There. Right, so what I'm going to do now is transfer it to this hand. So I'm going to just grab the whole lot and make sure I don't let go of anything. And there you are. You'll end up with the hook in your hand, the loop, and you can see the tag of line that was down that way as well. All we want to do now is pass the tag of line from the back up through that loop. Yeah, you see that? Boom. That's the knot tied, we just need to tighten it all down. Now you can do it this way by pulling and everything, but what I find is with these fingers here, these little 2 fingers here, these do all the work by pulling it under here. So if you watch that line, if you watch that loop, I'm pulling it with these 2 fingers here. You can see these under here? I'm pulling it tight, pulling it tight, pulling it tight, boom. And you see that all straightens? And then once I've got to that stage, I want to tighten it a little bit more, so I'll give it a little bit more of a tug. I also make sure the line is from the front of the spade, never, ever, ever the back of the spade. A spade points out that way, and if your line comes from the back of the spade, it's always going to dig into that spade sticking out. It must always come in from the front of the spade. I had an argument with someone who insisted it comes from the back. Totally wrong. There's no one in the world can tell me that it comes from the back of the spade. It doesn't. It should always come from the front. And to just get it a bit tighter as well, especially with the slippy hooks, the PTFE hooks, I've got a pair of style pincers. I'll grab the line and pull it down like that. Spring-loaded flat nose pliers are very good as well. That sort of thing. Easily, readily available. And what you must do is make sure that line goes down. If it kicks out off at an angle like that, if it kicks off at 90 degrees, I will start again. You've not done something quite right, I will start again. I don't want it sticking out like a bristle. It needs to go flush with the shank of the hook really, or just slightly out. But if it sticks out at a right angle, something's gone wrong. Start again, just start again. It's not worth taking any chances for a fish to detect that little bit that's really sticking out like a bristle. So there we are, and we'll trim that down. Leave yourself a few mil. I've left a long tag there. If I was sort of pace fishing or big carp fishing, I'd leave a really long tag. And if I'm using big baits and that, use a long tag, because you don't want that to come undone under pressure. For silverfish and that, I'll trim it a lot neater, just a mil or 2. But you just don't want that to slip in any way and cause a slippage and to lose a match-winning fish or a personal best fish through poor hook tying. But that's our hook tied there now. And I don't mind if it kicks in a little bit, because that's going to encourage the hook to stay in and when you get any slackness in your line or your rig or anything like that. So anyway, so that's our hook tied. All we have to do now, what I do, I just go around the spool a couple of times just to release a bit more line, and I'll chop a length of line, okay? And then all we've got to do now is get it to the right length. Now, if you can see there, that says Johnny's jig. This is my jig. This is my hook length jig. And it's just a foot of wood, just a bit of strip wood. And I've got some 2-inch nails filed off the point so they're not quite so sharp. I've just put a little bit of tape over the very last one where my loop is, so there's no danger of any roughness there. To tie a hook length, so this one's going to be 4-inch staying camera. Let's do a 4-inch hook length then. And all I do is put it around the first pin, go around this pin, pinch it. I tend to just release it a little bit and just pull it towards me just to open it up a little bit more so it's slightly longer than the length of those 2 pins, and then take it off. And that way, once you've tied your knot, it goes back to the length it was, because once you've whipped a few times, it naturally goes a little bit shorter anyway. So I've pinched that. I'm just going to transfer it to that hand. And I've done a loop tying tricks video already, so if you have, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but I'm just going to go in with my loop tire, turn it around once, in there, moisten it, and there we are, it's done. What I didn't show you on that video already was also I do moisten the hook as I tie it. You can wet your fingers as you tie it as well. I pull it up in my mouth. I've never hooked myself, but I'm just saying that's what I do. I'm not saying that's what you should do, because I don't want you to be saying, oh, I hooked myself, following your way of moistening knots in your mouth. But I've been doing it for years. I've never ever hooked my mouth, but I would just go and just moisten it. But be careful, it's a hook and it's your mouth. That's our hook all nicely tied. 4-inch 0.23 to a size 10. Can't wait to be backing up on that one. So that should now, in theory, there's my jig there, should just go over there nice and easily. Let's put the loop over first, that'll be easier. And then there, so that's, you can tell that's perfectly tied, 4-inch hook length. And as far as lengths go, if in doubt, tie everything 6 inches for pole fishing. Waggler fishing, 10 or 12 inches. If you just fish for F1s, tie everything 4-inch. So there's no hard and fast rule. If it's not fast and furious fishing and you're in no rush, tie everything long. Tie everything 12 inches long and chop it down to suit. If you're like me, I will tie everything at 3, 4, 6, 12 inches and have every combination available, because I don't want to waste any time chopping down hook lengths on certain matches. Other matches I will, feeder fishing matches particularly, I will chop a hook length down to suit on the day. But for pole fishing, speed fishing, I want the hook lengths at the right length to begin with. But yeah, if in doubt, 6 inches is the optimum for pole fishing. It's all about how close you want that last shot to the hook. So the closer you want that shot to the hook, your last shot, your dropper shot, your telltale shot, the closer you want that to the hook is the shorter your hook length should be. Obviously you can put your shot on a hook length as well. A lot of people don't like to do that though. So, and also by having the hook length the right length, your shot can't slide any nearer to the hook. That's its buffer, it stops at the knot. So, but yeah, so I generally tie everything at 4 and 6 inch. As you can see in this hook length box here, hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you see that. These are all 4-inch, I see the loops there, and the longer ones here are 6 inch. Same hooks, but at 4 and 6 inches. So there you are. That's my hook laying tips. Yeah, Johnny's jig, patented, and I can just keep it in a little bit of tube there for when it's not in use, because it's a bit of a deadly contraption. So, but that's very, very useful for tying hooks. I've done it with little smaller ones as well, just when I'm trying a little 3-inch on the fly. And I've just made little bits of strip wood and a couple of nails. That works a treat as well. You can see that there, little 3-inch jig. But yeah. Meow, what do you want? Little bugger. You are a bugger. Come on, go on out. Come on out. I tell you what we'll do, as a real quick one, I'm going to tie a hook as quickly as I can. 018, 14 to 018, and just show you how quick it is to tie once I've got the hook out the packet. Easier said than done, that's the hardest part of it. So yeah, once you get into the hang of it, you can tie a hook really, really fast. So I'm gonna quickly whack that on there. So I'm just gonna double it up like that. Let's try and do it from this spot. And then, right, so go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Pinch it like that. Pass it through. Now this is what I do. I'm not saying you should do it. I just moisten it, and then I'll just pull it tight. Boom, boom, boom. There, and that's our hook length tied. Just make sure it's all right, and the spade's the right side of the whippings. Cool. And we're gonna just tighten that down if I have to, just a touch, and trim it. Boom. Then take a few little whippings off. I'll make this one 4" again. Doesn't matter if that one's still on there. Hopefully you can see that. Yep. Round there. Pinch. Bit bigger than the length of the thing. Pull it off. Move that away. Quick go. Boom. 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 Moisten. Pull tight. Grab the line. Wash. There we are. That's our hook length all tied. 4" long. And just repeat the process. There we are. Do that 100 times. You might get close to getting a hook box full of hooks, just like this one, ready for your next session.
Like, subscribe, check out my members area. Meow.